Hello, Namaste and welcome back. In this lecture, we will deep dive into one of the most important things that we need to learn to use Confluence to its full potential, that is creating content. We will go over the concepts of spaces, pages and blog posts to explain how to add content to Confluence and thereby creating our first space. Before we get into the practical part of it, let's first understand the important terms that we will be using and learning about in this lecture. This will help us provide the conceptual clarity before getting into the practical part of it. We will start with spaces, followed by pages, and then blog post. We will also learn about comments. So let's first understand the overall concepts of Confluence, spaces, pages, blog post and comments through an analogy. So let's assume Confluence is a library. In that case, spaces are the sections of a library. Sections can be finance, business, history, geography, etc. And in that case, content, that is pages and blog post, are the books under those reading sections. I hope through this analogy, you are able to understand the relationship between Confluence, spaces and content. Now let's understand each of these concepts in detail. To organize content in Confluence, we use spaces. A space is an area within Confluence containing your pages. Each space has its own page structure and home page. It comes in two types, site spaces and personal spaces. Site spaces are also called global spaces. Site spaces are basically areas where you create content and collaborate with others. For example, you may want to separate areas based on team, department or topic. In that case, you will be creating a site space or global space. Personal spaces belong to specific users. Personal spaces can be said to be kept private or open for every user to see and edit. Personal spaces can be used for personal information such as blog posts, bookmarks, and attachments. Each space has space-specific content, that is pages, blog posts, and so on, and space-specific permissions. Please note, there is no limit for the number of spaces you can create in Confluence. Now let's look at pages. Pages are the core of Confluence and the way to store and share information. Pages are always contained within a space, and as opposed to spaces, they can be nested. So basically you can nest pages in a hierarchy within each space. Now let's look at comments. Comments are remarks, questions, or any other information you want to add to an existing page or blog post, but are not necessarily part of the content of that page. Comments can be used to interact with other users on a topic. Comments can be added to every page or blog post provided the user has permission to do so. Comments are displayed at the bottom of the page below the content, ordered in such a way that the newest comment is at the bottom. Comments are generally displayed as a thread showing hierarchy and context in the responses. Now let's look at the blog post. Blog posts are a special type of pages within Confluence and can be added to every space, provided you have the permission to do so. Blog posts are generally used for announcements, journal entries, reports, or any other time-sensitive information. Blog posts are sometimes also referred to as news. Please note, Confluence lists blog posts chronologically. Now you must be wondering how blog posts differ from the normal pages. So you cannot move a blog post to another space, but you can move a page to another space. That's one. The second thing is blog posts have a publish date which can't be changed after creation. And as mentioned earlier, Confluence lists blog posts chronologically, so blog posts don't have parents and therefore can only be structured based on their publish date. That's all in this lecture. In the next lecture, we will look at creating spaces. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.